So, without further ado, I give you guys a top producer to tell you guys how to make waffles, how to present all of the projects to us already in. Hi, everybody. What does say? But yeah, you know you guys read that, but I believe, I'm very disturbedly, that this job interview doesn't start from the moment you actually send with all of the credit, you close it out of your business offered. They start way before that, and Rebecca for the following about that. I actually got to my little piece of my consultation, and I'm going back to tender little piece of my consultation is how I actually make the over and why the price of more for us important. Because not everybody that you have is a crap fly, and you just saw that whole cat. But you have support, you have to make your buyer look like a rock star. So like I have on the station, park on the station, it's just so easy how many all different I am related. And the one I was making before was that easier you start from the moment, probably when you send the text message to request a show. The way you, I think Sean talked about how polite you are, how Cardenas, how you present yourself, how you send a business card. What you said would be trying to request a showing. And it's sad to say, and I'll tell you a little story here. Before I started doing real estate full time and the wheels were turning, I was doing Cougar on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 8 p.m. to bring in a hoodie. So the day I was doing real estate, and at night to pay the bills till the wheels started turning. And you wouldn't believe how many people told me you were the nicest Uber driver I've ever had. And I was just holding on the red carpet before they walked in the car. I wasn't giving them order. I gave me my charger. I didn't ask them how much, what they wanted to listen to. I didn't ask any of them. All they did was have an honest and friendly conversation with the people at the back of my car. So I believe that just kind of the right manners, being going above and beyond to connect with the other person, or make the difference between you may remembered by the time they get that offer, or just being a line item on that offer sheet when we have 15 offers on the table. So that's part of the job interview. And that job interview, when you do a job interview, you have the only thing you bring, well, that you said up front, it's your resume. And I look at an offer as a resume. Every time you just send over an offer, you're asking somebody to hire for a job. And that resume is your presentation, and your qualifications on the resume are your buyer strengths. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through how I actually present an offer. I'm going to be presenting an offer to Chris on this session. And we're going to go over, I'm going to actually review how I present an offer, because I like systems. So what I've done is, if you know, it's been and I created a template for my offers, or I call the template, it opens it up, and then I customize it to my buyer's situation. So, but first, I'm going to show you my presented offers Hall of Fame. These are people that have really gone above and beyond to show me what they are and how they're going to be, or the rest of the dress act. Hey. This guy, Hamburg, he president. And so this is the first offer. This is their next offer, and this is their highest amount. So I thought it was impressive about like he just wanted to show me that they were going up and up and up. But this is not the way to do it. I don't think that's professional enough, and I think if the buyers saw you do that, they probably was like, then you have this guy. The guy does your own name and handwrites it to use a form. Everybody has a different form, library form, like from Paul Bando, we have our own forms. EHC has their own form. It's like a break pattern. Everybody has their own TH, but this is not. I don't think this is not all. If that's like it goes into it. Yeah. So I have to ask we've got, I have to ask this guy if he was closing one day or 7 days. I was just how quick to be at either of them. It's a bit classic. This is the person that sends an email when you open it backward and you gotta take your laptop and put it upside down. It's like very, and it's very and strong and you know, it's the whole bit. This is not what your listening agent wants to see. And I think the last one, this is it. It's in top 3. And this one actually have line, and it became top of line as we prepared for this whole thing. I asked everybody, I told everybody at this point I'm gonna Hall of Fame well first. And I came there was that Aaron said here, and I thought it was hilarious. I mean, let's take the foot out of it. You know, there are apps that you can use, scan your documents, even if you have to handwrite them, because let's face it, we don't have our laptops in the back of our pocket all the time, and that means we're not all experts at using our iPhones as a computer. So sometimes you have to write up a note. And in those exceptions, you try to avoid putting a foot with the picture, or at least wear some Gucci shoes or something. That's what they do. And then the last one, because another classic is no deal. So I don't know who the buyer is. I don't have any information. They just literally write up numbers, and you can't see literally write, but there's numbers here. But no name. I don't know who the buyer is. I don't know the buyer. I think they get over the buyer at the pre-approval. So it's just kind of like, I wanted to show you that the things that I see that I did. Don't do this. If you are doing this, today that you did. Today you start doing something a little bit bad. So one of the things that I think about, and the reason why I started making up like this was because I didn't come up with this, and I perfected it as I've gone along. But the reality is I didn't come up with it. When I was brand new, I got my first listing of maybe a second listing. And a guy sent me an offer, and it looked a lot like what I'm going to show you. And I'm like, it's satisfied. This guy got it together. I've never seen an offer represented this way. And I started emulating it, picking up, and being really just present on the way that people present offers. And I started writing, okay, this is really why, this is very behind, this is very beat with over here to there. This will start compiling something that looks like a good offer. Now, I send an offer 3 ways. I send an offer, I email the offer with the document. I take a portion of that email and text it to the listing agent. But I also make a phone. And I don't know what it is. I guess in the beginning I was nervous about calling a listing agent and say, hey, the buyer that we showed the house to, they really love the house. And I'm gonna send you an offer, please. And you're like, yeah, but what's the offering? You can make the offer with a phone and talk about the offer. If the offer is strong or your buyer has certain things to highlight that are important, make that connection with the listing agent. Because that emotional connection for that rapport that you're building is going to get you to an honest conversation about this increase in the house. I might top 3 in the offer. And a lot of it is don't like to say, and you're not supposed to unless you get a green light from your seller. But you can have some of these people we know each other. Hey, you're way off. You're top 3. You're up there. You gotta go a little better. But that doesn't come. I don't just tell that to anybody. One from having a really long conversation with somebody about their buyer, their offer, the vendor that they're working with, how prepared they are. Then that comes and starts calling, and then I may say, if you've been this, if you did that, and then that gets you a little bit of that. Now, why do I think this way? It's because when you make an offer, you have to start thinking about a listing agent more than a buyer did. At that point, you have to poke your hat and say, okay, what would a listing agent want? The person that's hiring me for this job, what would they want to see in me? And I left it like this because I think I'm very free much study, but when you list a house and you're looking for like perfection, well, option number 1 obviously is the deal. That's the perfect buyer's agent. But number 2, what are some things that you guys look for? And I want to make this a little bit more interactive on a buyer's agent when you have to. When you don't have any offers of your own, and you have to choose a buyer's agent, what are you looking for on a buyer's agent? The charters? Well, anybody else?
or might not be with the buyer taken?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I wrote out then. Shit. And I see. And kind of how they communication.
Yeah, that's what they said.
You said communication?
Yeah.
What about reputation?
That's not up there, but hey, that's about that. I don't know. Somebody might could be better than just play mix and then they'll hear audio. But I started thinking about what they
How do you say transparency?
yeah, that's
Language else?
Yeah. Inclusivity.
there was
Will they help?
is involves. I'm pretty here. He's working, but it's not much to this one. You wanna
Just, oh, yeah,
just what it is? What forward?
what are we looking for? The question is, okay.
What do the court for in the market flyer? And now I'm kind of maybe towards the actual making up the offer. Somebody who can communicate the buyer's needs and what they have. Resourcefulness. If something comes up with the deal, we all know that the perfect deal doesn't exist. Rarely ever happens that you have a good deal. Somebody who's going to find solutions rather than give you problems and never when you're left, right? A network, are they working with a lender that they know, are they working with an attorney that they recommend? A team later, this is huge. And I'll put in all these things, and all these things are reflected on my offer when I'm just breaking it down. This is just a mindset thing, how I go about making the offer, I put this together. You want to know that you're not going to drop the offer, get the offer accepted, and burn away as you're closing. You want to let the other side know that you're going to be there for the appraisal, you're going to be there for the home inspection, you're going to advise your buyer to know quickly from the moment they get the accepted offer to the moment they buy contract, because my house shows when we get signed contract. So we want to let the other side know that you bought all of these things. Managed we talked about already, and tie them. So I want to present an offer. I broke it down basically to 4 parts. The 4 parts of the introduction, where I allow the listing. They want to be loved. They want to know that they exterior see. They want to know that you have manners. And then the offer details. So the actual meat and potatoes. What's this person offering you? What are the terms? And then the buyer's team. So in the offer, I break down every in this section who is going to be part of the deal, because we don't have a limited number, and it's much easier for me to pull up and add in my on my iPhone the offer, and I know that if I need to call I need to call Eric, he sees the information of it. I need to know what the attorney is information of it. So I'm told in one place. I know that you put it on, it's on the pre-approval, and it should be there. And it's on the seller agreement, it should be there. But going the extra step to show a listing agent that you can do this, it's just a preview of how that deal is going to go. And it gives you that. So my offer is a little bit long. Obviously, it doesn't take 5 seconds to do, but this is what my offer looks like. So you have part 1, part 2, and part 3. At the end of my offer, I say, hey, Eric, here's the information for the listing agent. Because one of the things that I do when I'm going to go over in the next section is I CC, well, first I have a conversation with them and I go, what's the highest I can go to see? Barely. And then we find out the numbers, we talk, we know that I'm within a range that it's okay. And then I write up the offer. Listing agent, co-listing agent, if there's one, I think 50% of the, not more, of the listings out there have the listing agent and also co-listing agent. If you know that when you're looking at the listing, there's a team leader, which is part of the team. There's another team leader. CC the team leader into this. Want everybody to get their offer, and then I CC Eric's because it's part of the strategy is to make sure that it's a one-to-one. I have the conversation, I put my best foot forward, these people know exactly what I'm about, and there's 30 minutes later, it starts making a phone call. Like, hey, you just started offer from lowest to our buyer. You have requested some of their financials. So it's a one-two punch. You're a team player and you want to move over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you exactly what I write on this email. And obviously, you get it customized. I like systems, but systems not only tell the whole story. So what I do is I use my template to start, and then I go from there. Obviously, I change today is the price, but there really is something about the house that they like particularly, and I want to move it. So my email goes like this: Hey Chris, the video we're showing is during the open house. I'm not just saying that to say that. I'm saying that because when I went to the open house, I showed T-San, I looked him in the eye, I said, oh, how are you doing? How's it going? How's everything doing? I gave you a cup of coffee and decided straight. Anything that I had to do, try to build rapport with it. And then I go, I hope we had a great time after the opening at that party. Chris, how are you? And you said local water go right to the open house. Or he was another was pool. Or he was going to go to his kids' soccer game. So I try to recall that stuff. And you might think, who can have that much sentiment? Well, if you know your buyers are interested because they're walking to the house and you see them more like this, and you know later on to make an offer. And I start building that's a moment where I tell my buyers, if you see me try drifting away to talk to this person, to talk to that person while we're at the open house, I'm not just laughing at. I'm building the report. I'm trying to get as much information as I can so that what I'm ready to know for I can letter to you. So that's the part where you introduce yourself when the managed part of the equation comes in. Joey says, are they interested in making an offer on this home that that has so much to offer? They love the free space fit and the two slot. If you're two exactly matching offers, and I've had this happen to me, which offer will you go with Lewis? Who with yours? And then that's a big shoes to fill because you gotta make the right call. At that point, they come back to you, or the deal takes a while, they gotta come back to you and say, you pick the buyers. But I don't want the responsibility of it. There's two things that are gonna separate the offers. Let's look at the offers and see what we get. See what else other than the numbers tell the story. And those people bought the house because of the huge lot, and the deal buyers are recognizing that that's one of the reasons they love the house. That might need an emotional connection there that may get you the accept offer. That may get you the accept offer for $5,000 less at the highest offer. Or they may get you the accepted offer even though you have a 3.5% down and the highest offer has 20% down. So you never know what that emotional connection is something, and that emotional connection sometimes is illogical. And they already accept an offer from somebody who has something, another layer to it. So they love the house. They also look like the homeowner is love their home, and they could totally see the kids and dog running in the yard. I'm just customizing here because there's something else other than numbers that has made a difference. So I'm kind of pulling the heartstrings here. The buyers were so this is now we're starting to take a look up. The buyer didn't know that the detail of the purchase of the loan officer Eric Brown, so I put their information there because this agent may know her before making the offer, and is very comfortable with it. What happens a lot of times, I don't know if this is happening still because I never let this happen to me. It was my buyers, but how many buyers will 60 over asking and they realize that the payment they're going to have is not what they're going for. Their max was 3,500, which is impossible now. But now there are 4,200, and when they find out the loan, they're going to back out of it. It's going to have a conversation 30 seconds before they will sign an contract. So having a conversation between the buyer, be to the conversation between the three of us, the buyers, Eric and I, is going to make a difference. But I wanted the other side know that this is forward, that they had the conversation, that they're comfortable with the things, that they're ready to move forward. They'll also bring in another homie cycle was a Sabbath, and some there for Tuesday at 10 a.m. before you hear good news. The only for hearing good news is because you're already expecting to get the news. And I do this sometimes when I make an offer, I call the buyers don't have a home inspector and they ask to already landlord. I call them and I say, hey, what are you available the next 48 hours? 48 hours from now, there's 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, that's available. pencil me in. We, to get something else at or take it, but pencil me. And then I go back to the other side and we go, where did it go? And I already, and within that conversation, I tell my buyer, hey, only spectre is available for 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I think I heard some queries before, and I started using it myself, was you think you have the day of tomorrow to do the some spec. Because if you don't want to lose this house, and maybe you're showing right before us that he's $10,000 floor, he did take that and then remove it. We may have had a whole inspection scheduled, but nothing is added until the sign. So I make sure that I started lining up the pieces for the executive steps, so the listing agent knows I know what I'm doing. I know what the steps are, and I know we're gonna start meeting those milestones very quickly. They also went with my attorney recommendation was ready to go as soon as we reach a deal. I think Sean, and this is where it starts to come together from the moment that the consultation till now. Because Sean mentioned the fact that he calls his attorney that he's going to recommend and ask him what his full workload in like, because he wants to make sure that if the buyer gets an offer accepted, that those contracts can go out or can be signed as soon as possible. So I'm letting them know because I do the same thing. I work all my head to say, hey, I'm sending you an buyer, are you available? Can you meet that? Can you get on a phone call with them? And I'm letting that other side know, the listing agent, hey, I know my stuff. I know what's about to happen. And I want to make your life easy. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable that I'm not going to disappear. And I get it out for accepted. And this is why I try to quarterback. So, then on with my attorney recommendations, this is where it's deal. I worked with Derek for several DOC's here, and he's a pro, and Andrew has been my referral attorney for years. And he has a great reputation, solid team all around. Later, they know the state bar uses my recommendation. If they're not using my recommendation, I don't lie. I'm not gonna lie about a mortgage broker that I never had to deal with and say, this is the guy that I do all my deal with, just to say that, because if something goes wrong, it's my reputation. But one buyer is one buyer. If you apply to be this for the next 15 years, you don't put your reputation in front of it. So don't lie. Don't say that this is going to happen and this is, it's not only on the control. You can control it, you can control it. I'm letting the listing agent know that I can control what I can control and I'm in control of it. I told my buyer, or coaching my buyer to do what needs to be done, but that's not understood. Especially when you get out an offer with a foot. I'm like, in South Star, I did not do. I'm gonna double this deal, but I'm not even have to pay for my side. So what happens is, I'm letting these people know, okay, this is how it's gonna go. If you go with me, I'm gonna do the real deal. I CC the loan officer to this email just in case you have any questions about the buyer's financial profile or the bank's ability to close them out. I'm starting to check up all the boxes so that the listing agent knows, okay, I get it. And then she's reading this email and 30 minutes later, this starts calling and say, hey, you have any questions to read? Do you have any questions about the loan type, the down payment, financials? We're doing this program, we're doing that program. We're gonna get through those again, what I can do, I come in by this date. So I'm setting the standard so that when he makes a call, he knows that Eric's open to all this conversation. This is the next line is more about it depends who you're working with, where it comes in that. So I can provide a back on the right that's approval or even a commitment before the contract law or we get to contract. A side conversation my side was Eric about a buyer. It's a very, very busy open house. We know it's gonna be a slaughterhouse. We can only control you get control. I don't know what the highest offer is gonna be, or we're gonna go the highest we can go by saying, can you give me a commitment? Because even though my buyer is going on a $30,000 ask deep and it's 3.5% down FHA, so not cash, I need to get me as much leverage as I can to make it go off. So we try to get all the documents we can. We gotta get it down. If we gotta get proof funds for down payment, we'll get that. Get a commitment that makes me look as good as cash, and then you're able to explain to the listing agent, do you know we have a commitment? Do you know what that means? You don't say it like that. Someone may go, you're still doing it. But you say, hey, committed means that they're already on the rate. We are good to go. If you accept our offer, I know that 3.5% down. But everything that needs to be done was done as if they were 20% down, and we're going to get to the close today. So I'm layering here, emotional aspect of it, but also the fact that I know what I'm doing and leveraging any kind of thing that I can get to get this virus and set off. But you can double check any of your service concerns and this group of ones that are down payment. I like to say that because you know how many times you get 20% down buyer that they're available to 5%. Can they never really have 70% down? But they say 20% down to get the foot in the door. So if they feel comfortable with that, if they've had an experience with that, I want to say, hey, I'm gonna book. Whatever you ask me, whatever extra documents you need, I can provide it. I don't give everything right away because I don't want to, it's important. So we gotta go back like 2, okay? So then we gotta go back. I'm the sorry. Okay, next. So now we get to the actual offer. So about this part, I'm trying to make my listing agent happy by making his job easier. Because if you have 15 offers on the table and you have to go to every single offer and read handwrite it and you can't even read, this is gonna make it much easier for them, especially if they're doing a spreadsheet. I know some of them they want the title actually put a spreadsheet together and send it to their to their selling. So this makes it easier for them. What's the asking price? What's my purchase price? And I even tell them how much we're asking I'm going, so they already do the math. And then telling them how we're gonna put 10% down, 5% a contract, 5% a closing, what could the loan amount is gonna be, and then what type of loan it is. I'm basically telling them everything they needed out. And then I'm adding a little bit of something, because I know my buyers have a little extra money, but they tell us be too little low. And they cover all the eggs, people buying a house, and then they're gonna have to live with that in the kitchen. Something that, no, hey, that 50%, which I could provide because I already told them that I could provide them bank things to show my down payment. But they're only using here and because they need to do some, they need to keep some cash into this and that deal. So I think at this point, the listing agent's getting a pretty good picture of who my buyers, it's first thing and last name, knows what they qualify for, knows what they like about the house, so they have a really good agent, knows what the terms are better there. And we all know that the terms are not the numbers, terms are the full picture. So I add nothing to sell, or if you have something to sell, I tell them exactly what's going on. I add the contract, if it's a contingency, I add all that. Flexible closing, looking ASAP. I report as far as all years, it's going, hey Chris, I'm making an offer, but I like the flexible, what are your sellers looking for? And it's gonna say, those are gonna need 3 months because they have to go look at a house. They have to look for a house. But I talk to my buyers and I tell them you're gonna need 3 months. Instead of putting in flexible closing, looking to close ASAP, I go, they're looking to close as soon as the seller wants to. I know they have to go look for a house or we're able to close whenever they're ready. I'm trying to leverage every single piece of information because I have an honest relationship and an honest conversation with them that I started way before I made the offer, and they start coming together over here. And then they do an element section within 24 hours or 48 hours, depending on how quickly it should go. So this was the next part. Like I can it's this agent clicks over here, or clicks over here, or clicks over here, and sees all my track record, sees everything that I do. It says, oh, this guy really has stuff together. I'd love to put it together with this guy. So everything is done purposely. I try to think about exactly what I'm going to do and who's going to read it. And I mean, saying, this is the best offer somebody's ever presented to me. Unfortunately, the buyer decided someone with a higher offer. So this is not bulletproof. You can't be cash for 40,000 over asking, but if it was very close, you could get there. If your buyer was willing to go much higher and the listing agent sees all these enclosed and said, hey, Louis, the highest offer we have is this, but if your buyers go up to this number, they look very off and that's the deal. We all have that conversation. So this is why I do what I do, because it opens up the door for us to have a conversation because that person is well qualified, I'm very qualified. Let's just get on this canoe and everybody start throwing in the same direction. You hate that buyer's agent that will get in the canoe, and then the buyer's agent is rowing backwards. They've been doing circles for a month and a half, and your seller's yelling, and why is nothing happening? And then you have to start making calls to the other side to figure out why things are moving. This is not happening. I'm letting the listing agent know, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to be proactive, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get to the closing table.
We'll go to the next. The last part is the attachments. And the attachments are very simple. I actually learned that I started doing this myself. Rebecca, if you're estimating numbers on her houses, Rebecca likes what is sale agreement and the pre-approval are in the same PDF. All the same, because you only have to press print once. I don't know if that's the reason why you like it, but she told me that's what she likes. And I was like, you know what, that makes sense. I really like that. I like to have everything in one place. So this is the form that I use for all managers a little bit simpler to me, best things to do. All the details that I put previously are here, so the numbers and the other terms, closing information, attorneys here, the only thing that's not here is the information that's in here. That's Eric's information, contact information. So this is, I'm attaching the seller agreement with the pre-approval. If Eric got me a commitment right beforehand, I'm attaching that as well. If you're calling the listing agent and say, hey, I just happened to get a commitment on this buyer, and we're ready to go. And it's attached. And this is some of the things that I thought about. If you want to get proof of funds, especially if you have a cash offer, proof of funds. Cash, just because they say it's cash doesn't mean anything. I want to see the money. So that's proof of funds, or down payment, offer the offer. A pre-commitment, should we get one? And then, these are some of the notes that I started to give afterwards. So clear and legible, and oriented correctly. That's the PDFs. Make sure the PDFs are strikes that up, you know. Little things that you think are nothing, but you'll be surprised some of the things that you see. Matching numbers from the seller agreement and the pre-approval. If you're making an offer 40,000 or asking, get a pre-approval that's 40,000 or less. Because if I see, or even as far as going, I think that's an extra long time, and taxes, if you put on the offer, you're doing a conventional loan, but the pre-approval is for HHA, for you have a problem. I already know. And if the taxes on the property are 14K and the pre-approval 10K, the pre-approval says it, you know that I'm qualified. But making sure that everything lines up, that you be thorough about every single thing that we're doing is important. So making the other side feel less stressed about earning the agent. A lowest contact info on the pre-approval. Make sure that if Eric doesn't go, which he calls every time, but you have all the people that you work, and make sure that the information is on the pre-approval, because if you are a good listing agent, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get the offer, first thing you're gonna call is a mortgage brokerage, and say, hey, I just got an offer from your buyer, especially if I don't know that three, and just try to run some questions, whatever you ask. So if the information is there, just making the listing agent's life easier goes a long way. Ask your LO if there's anything more as far as supporting documents that they get for a while. Is there a pre-commitment? Then you give me an on-the-rest test approval that shows a little bit more than just a pre-approval. Because we all know that there are laws out there that just print out pre-approvals like it's, and they don't really know. You call them like, oh, tell me the client's doing it, and they don't know anything. If you can get any more documents to prove that your buyer can get to the closing table, that's going to help the listing agent sort out who are the good offers and who are the offers that are not going to be able to. And then ask your buyer for proof of funds or a lease agreement. If they're month-to-month and they have a lease, and you could show to the leasing agent and they're month-to-month and they're ready close to the possible because they're not tied to a lease, that helps. Especially if your offer is contingent on the sale of a property, then that contract to sell is huge. You want to get the contract to sell, you want to get a commitment to have one. If your seller, if your buyer who is also selling, is in contract and they already got a commitment, you think that would be some information that they want to give to the listing agent to know that your cash offer is solid? It's basically good because you got the commitment. You have to ask questions, but as much information that you can give to backtrack your buyer's eligibility It helps. And then I've gone as far as doing, site comedy as ability closings. I get a manager, it happens to me 100%. Net-based payment. Make sure you get that net-based payment, they're not getting paid. Happens to me. So what I do now is if it's on MLS, I print it out and I have my wire sign it. It's all done. I have it on my file, ready to go. And the designator doesn't have to worry about getting a net-based payment signature 2 days before the close before I have to close routine. So that's pretty much as full as you can give, other than putting a picture of you and your kids in that, and having the listing say, we need food. And I start with that, you pretty much cover every single area. You went through the emotional part, you've gone through the buyer's suitability, you show that you are well qualified and you know where you're going. And I think that's it.
Whoever it takes. Right?
Sweet.
That's it.
When you go to buyers,